What is clearly a scam, but is so normalized people don't notice? Those Keymaster games that usually have something like a Switch and a pair of Beats and stuff. I work part-time at an arcade and you physically cannot win a prize until the machine has taken its retail equivalent in cash. Ink cartridges. Printer companies make barely any profit off of actual printers. They are just vessels to make you buy unreasonably priced cartridges. Hey, please print this document in black and white. Fuck you, give magenta. Yeah. If I ever need something printed out, which is super rare, I just go to a print store or something. A lot of documents are also just PDFs now, so I'll just sign it on my tablet and email it back. They never seem to care. The diamond industry, specifically as it relates to jewelry. Everything that the average person knows about it stems from propaganda and advertisements created by De Beers. They aren't rare. They aren't worth what you pay for them. They don't appreciate in value and are a terrible investment. They aren't special. My great uncle worked for De Beers as a diamond courier, bringing them from Sata, London. They artificially restricted the amount of diamonds they send out so as to inflate the price. Same thing happens with gold. If a gold mine finds a huge deposit of gold, you can bet it's being sectioned off and left alone so not to flood the market. Internet data cap. Fucking scammers. We are living in our RV. And unlimited cellular internet is a ducking fraudulent lie. They all throttle your speed and deprioritize your data packets for using too much of your unlimited data. I hate these duckers with the fire of 1,000 suns. Just got a notice that I've used 5 GB of my unlimited data, 22 GB, 5 minutes ago. I just paid for the privilege of setting up my router. My cable company recently started trying to charge me for my router, which I own. I got a notice saying we noticed an error in billing and we will be charging you for the equipment rental starting in December. The duck you will. I have every receipt from every cable or phone transaction I've ever done for that exact reason. I paid outright for my router, so I won't be renting their shitty equipment at $12 a month. Now they want to charge me for my own property. After receiving that notice, I hopped right onto customer service to get it resolved, and they directed me to their loyalty department because they could best handle it over there. I cut off the conversation and just cancelled my service. Cable companies are pure scum. Must be nice to have other providers to choose from. Bottled water, like Dasani, especially in places like an amusement park that markups the price a shocking amount. Also, the average markup of bottled water is 4,000%, which is ducking outrageous. BC water is literally free most places. I'm fuzzy on the details, but Warped Tour got in a lot of legal trouble here in Canada because of water. They were in the habit of taking any water bottles or drinks from you when they checked your bag at the gate. Then you get inside and everything costs money. The energy drinks and pop cost less than the water, so most people would buy those instead. One woman bought energy drinks all day because it was a hot summer day and she wanted to save money for merch. She had a heart attack and died. Now they aren't allowed to confiscate water at the gate. Payday loans. I used to work as a debt collector for a payday loan company in the UK. I was not a very good debt collector. People used to find out about the various loopholes that stopped interest being added really easily. I worked there just before Christmas. It is the job that made me go back into education. Because my soul. Every single person on the internet that sells some sort of millionaire education, it's all bullshit. Every single one of them. They are all ducking liars. Most of them are not even rich to begin with. Exclamation mark. They fake it enough that some idiots buy it. You are customers to them. Nothing more. You want to be a millionaire? Buy my book and I'll tell you how. Apostrophe. You buy the book and it says to start a website selling a book on how to be a millionaire. This is so true. I received a free book called Fire Your Boss, and the whole thing was just this guy saying, start a blog or a YouTube channel or become an influencer. Just a bunch of BS about passive income. AdSense sincere. My favorite are the coaching companies that sell you their services on how to start a coaching service. It's a vapid cycle. Ticketmaster. Yes. Basically scammers adding huge marks up, but making it impossible to use anyone else. Not to mention allowing mass purchasing bots to scoop up tickets, only to offer a third-party market platform for those same scalpers to resell the tickets at increased prices to the fans actually going to the show. TM takes a cut twice. Rent to own furniture and appliances. Worked in solar construction for a while, where you would travel to the middle of nowhere to work on a site. So they gave us a housing fund to rent a place during the job. People would get the rent to own furniture and charge it to the housing money as a living expense. Company was cool with it, and once it was paid off the worker got to keep it. Yeah, I lived in some company, provided housing for a few months once, and they furnished the place with rent to own stuff. So situations where rent to own actually makes sense to exist. They're just pretty niche and only represent a fraction of their business. Scientific journal memberships, where academics pay journals to publish their papers which are then peer reviewed by volunteers and the journals themselves are then sold by subscription. Not to mention that a huge part of scientific research, breakthroughs, and discoveries are often subsidized by the taxpayer. So even though I helped indirectly fund their research through the knee, I can't read the results without a $200 monthly subscription. I'm sure some academic ethicist could probably speak to this issue in more detail than I can. But that's always bothered the duck out of me. The games at fairs/carnivals. Those registries that people pay money to name a star. I keep seeing advertisements on FB for companies that will give you official lord or ladyship for like $50, based on giving you the title to a small parcel of land somewhere like Scotland. I googled one of them once, and the first result was a breakdown of why the company is fraudulent and doesn't actually have access to any land anywhere. Paying for cable TV. The whole idea of paying was to create a revenue stream separate from that of marketing. There are a few out there, HBO, I think, but generally we pay to access the content and still have to spend 20% of the time sitting through commercials. Then streaming comes in, and we're free of advertisements again. For a bit. Now YouTube has tons of ads and other streaming services are talking about adding ads as well. Hot MILFs in your area. It is my understanding that they are interested in meeting me tonight. Get in line, buddy. There are 4 in my area right now. And they're really bored. Manufacturers refusing documentation to private repair enterprises and requiring you to get your products fixed by the dealer. Basically, the reason for the right to repair movement. Homeowners insurance. 1. Sorry, we are not selling new policies in your area right now because thing just happened where thing equals earthquake, wildfire, flood, and other things you might want to insure against. 2. We don't cover that sort of problem, where that sort of problem equals anything that actually happens to your house due to weasel wording loopholes. 3. You submitted a claim. We are going to triple your rates forever after this. Apostrophe. Reducing a price by 1 cent to trick our brains into thinking a product costs less than it actually is. Or how gas stations take it one step farther to 9/10 of a cent. The worst part of that is that gas stations don't even make all that much money on gasoline itself. Sure, it adds up over time, but the real money is in the stuff inside the convenience store. I was the assistant manager of a gas station 2008 to 2009, and our gas margin was $0207/gal. I never saw our profit margin go above 7 cents a gallon, even when gas prices shot from $2.20/gal to $4.25/gal due to worsening Mideast unrest. See 2008 oil shock. Closed bracket. My team and I got actual death threats over this, but we didn't even get a discount. That fountain soda, coffee, or frozen drink. Though, 99% profit. Less than $0.001 for the cup, straw, and lid each. About $0.000001 for the CO2 tank in the back that we refilled twice a year, and maybe $0.02 worth of syrup that comes in a bag in box. Bulk coffee that costs $0.07/pot to make and is a steal at $0.69 over 12 ounce cup. 5 cups/pot. Never got death threats over those. Edit. Didn't think I needed to put this disclaimer in, but some of the prices for items above may be outdated or involve hyperbole. Loot boxes in video games. Legalized gambling marketed to children. Cat food. Look at the cat food at a random store and see how the design brags about all the healthy vegetables they've crammed into your obligate carnivore's diet. Then check out the ingredients and see how corn, rice, etc. are often the first ingredients. Pet foods market toward humans by trying to appeal to human sensibilities, not genuine desire to provide your cat with the best diet. Listen up. Everything is a scam. Everything. But if you send me $19.99 I can show you how to turn the tables on the scammer and get his money. Limited time offer. Send money now. Do you have PayPal? Annual college tuition increases. Why aren't they held to a competitive pricing model as opposed to having to take out a mortgage to go to school? Everyone wants to talk about government paying for college education, but there is no conversation on why is it that expensive anyway. Especially when some unis have endowments in the billions, that just the interest on those funds could literally pay the tuition for everyone that goes through the door. Update. Wow. This went crazy. Thank you everyone for keeping it to a civil discussion on the topic as opposed to going on political rants. And thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Not only does tuition go up every semester, but the full ride financial aid packages that are 90% loans by the last semester. I'm glad you pointed this out. I feel like I have to mention to people all the time that scholarships and financial aid are filled with costs you can't account for, especially year-over-year tuition increases. Don't get me started about FAFSA, federal aid. I appealed my amount every single year, and even though my family income situation remained the same, the amount I was given was lower and lower. College textbook prices. It's crazy how ridiculous expensive they are, putting even more of a financial burden on students. It's amazing how one of the professors at my school wrote whatever science book we used for that class, and they'd magically put out a new version every semester. So your $180 Gen Chemical Ed 6 could only be returned for $5, since Ed 7 had just come out. Edit. To put this in context, college was the first time I saw high-speed internet. PDFs online was not really a thing yet. Once you finish the high school, it's all fun ahead. Apostrophe. Once you finish the degree, it's all fun ahead. Apostrophe. Once you get a job, it's all fun ahead. Apostrophe. Once you die, it's all fun ahead. Apostrophe. Funerals and everything to do with them. The funeral industry has insane pricing. Some of the funeral homes and vendors are even predatory, getting grieving families to pay upwards of tens of thousands of dollars, because that's what the deceased would have wanted. You didn't love your father at all, did you? Was the question that had me slam my fist down on the table. My dad wanted a cardboard box cremation and no memorial. He got a cardboard box cremation and no memorial, with zero upselling from a different cremation service. The state act got a complaint about the first cremation service. The school picture industry. $80 for an awkward picture of my baby? Nah, thanks. I don't understand why that's still a thing. Of course. Years ago, school pictures were really important. When I was a kid in the 80s, not all families owned a camera, and if they did, they probably didn't have the ability to take good photos. Most mega churches. I remember an interview with Kenneth Copeland talking about how he needed a private jet to spread religion, and now the Lord has blessed him with 2 of them. Must be why he laughs so hard. Timeshare anything. There is currently a major argument in my family. My grandparents own a timeshare in Vegas and want to leave it to one of the grandkids. Not a single one of us wants it. It is looking like I'm going to end up with it, unfortunately. There should be a clause in the contract that gives the heirs right to not accept/sell the timeshare without penalty. Also, there are specialized no cure/no pay lawyers who can get you out of this. At first study the contract though. Having to pay $100+ for glasses. Most kids shows are just long advertisements for toys. Most animated series in the 80s were literally intended solely to sell toy lines. Scientology always has been, never hasn't. Planned obsolescence. where products are deliberately designed to have a defect or worse performance shortly after the warranty has expired. Edit. Wow, thanks for all the upvotes and the rewards. Here are 2 examples on how companies can influence how long a product can last. Using inferior materials and critical components, like using soft metal screws or cheap plastic instead of metal in stress-bearing parts. Companies know how long these components on average last, so they can strategically place them, designing the product so that components that often need replacing cannot be replaced by just anyone. An example is that a lot of products now have batteries that you cannot replace yourself anymore. Sometimes they are even so designed that even independent repair shops will have a hard time replacing these components. It is not only phones, but can be any electronic product. No shit. My car has a 60,000 mile warranty. 60,007 my transmission shat the bed. Edit. Chrysler. The third dealership I went to finally took pity and covered it. The price for cable and internet. Everyone notices this. If you tell me the truth, I won't get mad. Mom. Diamond rings for marriage. Basically the entire wedding industry. Starting a new life together, why not plunge yourselves into thousands of dollars of debt? Anything people do because of tradition is ripe for scamming. Marriage? Scam. Funeral? Scam. Baby shower gifts? Wildly overpriced. Application fees for colleges, apartments, etc. So I really delved into my tuition fees. There were so many that I didn't use and cold and opt out of. The funniest one was a green fee. I wondered what the university did that could be considered green, because I really didn't know of anything. So I dug a little more to see what the campus is doing that makes students pay $40 each semester. Yes, they leased the fees, but still, it ended up being for a solar powered bench outside the student center that had USB ports. I thought, okay, that is cool. I don't think it cost as much as they're making, but whatever. So I went to see it. Right on it, there was a plaque. It was donated to the school by a wealthy family in the area. Hospitals OMG. Lol, ask them for an itemized bill, like everything they gave you, and how much it costs, and they'll cut the bill down by like 50%. I recently got an bill with itemized prices for the tests I had, a couple $100 total, and then $2,600 for emergency room. Like, all the actual medical things I had done had already been listed. They just tacked this on. It's like going to a restaurant and getting a bill that says hamburger $8, coffee $2, salad $4, diner $65. MLM. My favorite kinds of MLMs are the ones where they manage to convince people who fell for them that they are not MLMs. I just had an old coworker reach out to me about one and told her I'm not into MLMs. When she gave me the whole spiel, I was just kind of dumbfounded. Like, do you not remember the genesis of this conversation? You're trying to recruit me into your downline right now. But you go ahead and be your own boss. I'll just stay over here with my salary and benefits. Having to buy a new smartphone as your old one won't receive security updates after a year or 3 anymore. Gasoline prices ending in 9/10s of a cent. Lotteries. If you don't scratch them, you don't lose. D. Got D. That is so sad. Printers that won't print because a single cartridge is empty, even though the rest are fine. Social media looks like free, harmless fun, but is more like selling your soul and data. Makes you addicted and sad. Most people notice, probably, but don't care enough. Minimum wage is staying the same, while the price of virtually everything else rises. Minimum wage was $4.25 on the sign in the cafeteria when I was in 3rd grade. It is $7.25 now. I'm almost 40. To reiterate, 1991 vs 2015 in USA. Mean prices. Home price $123.000 vs $289. 500 plus 135%. Bread $0. 98 vs $1.98 plus 102%. 1 pound hamburger meat $0. 89 vs $4.68 plus 426%. Undergrad tuition, University of Florida, $1. 229 vs $6. 310, plus 413%. Minimum wage $4. 25 vs $7. 25, plus 71%. You know, for the boomers who can't figure out why Gen Z and later millennials can't buy a house or pay off student loans with a part-time job. The customer is always right. Biggest scam of all, the customer is usually an idiot and looking to get free stuff. Agreed. I hate the way this phrase has been weaponized to torment service people. The way I always understood it is that manufacturers should follow what people want to buy and produce stuff according to market demand, and not bow to every whim of customers to the detriment of your business. The fact that so many products require you to create an account and register it just to use it. This is starting to become so widespread. Even cameras are doing that shit now. Pisses me off so much. I don't want to be tied to some stupid cloud BS, I just want to use the damn thing. Phones themselves are terrible for this too. I should not need an Apple or Google account. To have a phone, I should be able to use it as a standalone device with just the cell service and that's it. All this sort of BS is only so they can spy on you. Health insurance in the US costs a small fortune, never covers shit, and you still end up bankrupt if you're not rich and get sick or hurt. Came here to see this. There are too many things that require insurance in the US. Rental, healthcare, vision, dental, car, pet, life. There's so many, it's financially crippling. Brands high prices, especially clothing. I would dispute that. I have some old clothing that I still wear that was expensive. That being said, it varies even inside of expensive labels, and from one year to another. I used to wear a lot of Lacoste no-iron shirts over a decade ago, and I noticed that their cloth got thinner and thinner from one year to the next, and they use less colors, so I ended up completely abandoning the brand. However, I found others that are decent and have lasted since then. I remember having a conversation with a coworker about 9 years ago about how the price of cotton had gone up a lot. So a way to avoid increasing prices up front was to make clothes thinner, therefore using less cotton. It's why lots of clothes are sold as being designed for layering. And then fools ended up thinking these new, thinner items were better. I don't like Jaldan shirts. They're too heavy. Yes. This $30 t-shirt I can spit through is way better. It's so light. They're straight robbing you, and you love it. Starbucks. I pay $9.99 for 51 ounces of Folgers ground coffee, roughly 388 ounce cups. That comes out to about $0.02 per cup of coffee. At Starbucks, a tall dark roast costs $1.85. I could have 92. 5 cups of Folgers at home before I pay for one Starbucks. My tub of Folgers is worth $703.00 if I were to sell it at the same price as Starbucks, and am using reusable cups every day. Industrial age schooling and the 40-hour work week. The 40H work week is pretty shit. At best you're looking at 3-4H of free time daily. And for what? Waiting for retirement that never comes? Hoarding wealth for luxuries you don't get to enjoy because you work all the time. We are technologically in a place where most work weeks could be 30H or less. Bottled water. Except in certain areas. We have to buy bottled water, or we die from the tap water. But in any country with drinkable tap water, yeah, I don't get it. I think the vast majority of bottled water that is purchased around here is drank in buildings with perfectly good tap water. Bottles are just convenient, but bad for the environment. I may get heat for this, but the sneaker/shoe industry. Holy shit, you don't need masses of fancy artistic looking running shoes collected in boxes that you go and spend $1000-10,000 on at a swap meet. You may as well be collecting very expensive Funko Pops. You're not going to wear them. And if you wear them, you're only going to worry about them while you wear them. And the markup is insanity. I know people who do this, and they are leveraging money they don't really have on something that's going to sit on their shelf and do nothing. It's bad enough that shit like Skechers, the literal Kmart brand of shoe, cost over $125 a pop for a really crappily assembled shoe. But to spend in the thousands for what is essentially stamp collecting is nonsensical, bordering on obsessive compulsive. And don't get me started on women's shoes by design houses. I saw someone dish out $1,800 for Louboutins or something. What are you wearing those foot destroying shoes for? And why would some leather and glue and plastic cost $1,800? Holy shit, what a racket. Herbalife. From an American perspective, insurance, especially medical/dental insurance, your bill is $8,000. Your copay is $1,200. Actually, I don't have insurance. Apostrophe. Oh. Then your total is $450. Apostrophe. Have insurance now. Current job. But a few years ago, when I didn't, my doctor's office waived a visit. I told them I didn't have insurance, so just needed to know how much to pay. They said they would just send a bill to me in the mail later. After the bill didn't arrive when expected, I called and asked about it. They said, "Oh, we wrote it off as a charity case." I had enough money to pay for the visit, just not an insurance company several hundred a month. Student loans. What started as an assistance program to help democratize higher education, so it wasn't just for the super wealthy, has turned into a limitless source of profits for lenders and colleges, even state/public universities. Schools are now immune to market price pressure. No matter how high they raise fees, prospective students will always be able to get enough loan money to meet them. On the lender's side, they have no incentive to screen either borrowers or the schools, because the loans are almost impossible to absolve. You can default, but you still owe for life. It's some of the only debt you can't discharge in bankruptcy. So every lender is happy to give a six-figure check to wide-eyed 18-year-olds who have near zero real-world or job experience and have been sold a wing and dream by college recruiters. The only person who bears any risk in the whole system is the students, who are told from day one of kindergarten by parents, teachers, TV, every motivational speaker that drives by, and absolutely the recruiters, that you go to college or you're a complete waste. Whatever it takes, you go get that degree. Internships. It's basically free labor for work experience, and it doesn't even count most of the times. Unpaid internships. There are definitely good paid internships that give you experience and training, etc. But unpaid internships can go right to hell. Any of the food they sell at Disneyland/Disney World, while they are delicious as all get out, you will pay for the nose and not get too much for your money. Giving credit card details for a free trial and auto renewal fine print. Heck, stop it after my trial ends. If I really liked it, I'll pay for it. Most modern manufactured goods, designed to not last, so you keep buying more. The US tax system. We know how much money you owe, but it's up to you to figure it out, and if it's not right, we're going to penalize you for not understanding the convoluted code. The Verizon $1 scam. Verizon tacked on a $1 fee onto 8% of their customers' bills each month, so over the course of the year, they did it to every customer, about 150,000. Their rationale was 50% wouldn't notice and just pay the charge, or would notice and wouldn't spend any time fighting a $1 charge. 50% would notice the charge and call to have it removed. Of those, 35% would get frustrated while on the call and give up. This added approximately $120,000 to the bottom line each year, 3 total, until caught. Once caught, they paid a $25,000 fine. That's actually a really smart idea. Illegal but really smart. They don't give a shit if the fine is insignificant. At a certain point, illegal just means you have to pay to do stuff. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.